So let's talk about the difference between an entrepreneur and an employee. So they are completely different things, being an entrepreneur or being an employee. Becoming an entrepreneur from an employee is a huge shift in mindset, priorities, and activities. So if you're already an entrepreneur, then good for you. You already know this, perhaps. And if you don't, then you probably should check it out anyway. But if you are an employee and if you've been working for other people, you absolutely need to get this in your head. Entrepreneurs and employees are completely different creatures. That's different kinds of work and often different types of mindset. Yeah, different mindset, different work, different types of thinking and being. So let's get ready for the shift. If you've been an employee or working for somebody else and you're becoming an entrepreneur, it is a huge change in direction. Brace yourself to rewire your brain for a new reality. This shift is a 180-degree turnaround. All right, it's totally different. So let's talk about an entrepreneur. What is an entrepreneur? An entrepreneur is a speculator, a tycoon, a magnate, a mogul, a dealer, trader, deal maker, promoter, impressiano, wheel dealer, whiz kid, mover and shaker, go-getter, go-flyer, hustler, ideal man or person. Yeah, this is the definition of an entrepreneur. Entrepreneur, actually, if you look it up in the dictionary, it says a person who organizes and operates a business or businesses, taking on greater than normal financial risks in order to do so. Pay attention to that. Greater than normal financial risks in order to do so. It's also a promoter in the entertainment industry. And an entrepreneur comes from the French to undertake. Yeah, to undertake, to make things happen. Entrepreneurs, one of the main definitions is entrepreneurs take risks. An entrepreneur is one who organizes, manages, and assumes the risks of a business or enterprise. All right, being an entrepreneur is a risk. It's a risk being an entrepreneur. It's a risk continuing to be an entrepreneur, right? So entrepreneurs are basically regular risk takers. An entrepreneur is the person who starts a business and is willing to risk loss in order to make money. All right? So you have to be comfortable with risk. The fact is, you can lose everything you have. You might not get paid anything at all. You might actually have to get into debt just to pay other people or to do this or to do that. You might have an idea, invest all this time, and get nothing from it, right? There's loads of risks being an entrepreneur. Let's talk about an employee. What's the difference? Okay, entrepreneurs take risks. Employees, this is the definition: worker, working man, woman, member of staff, staffer, blue-collar worker, white-collar worker, laborer, working man, hired hand, wage earner, informal desk jockey, employees, personnel, staff, workforce, human resources. Yeah, totally different thing. So employees, of course, you have to have employees. For entrepreneurs, don't need them necessarily, but employees are necessary in our world. An employee is a person employed for wages or salary, especially at non-executive level. All right. Now, there's nothing wrong with employees. I'm not saying employees are bad and that there's something wrong with them, but it's completely different, and you have to understand the difference if you're an entrepreneur. All right, let's look at the difference. The entrepreneur is someone who brings a resource from a lower level productivity up to a higher level of productivity. All right, lower level to higher level. So you take an idea and you bring it up to the next level. So for example, an entrepreneur might be someone who has reclaimed materials, like a friend of mine. He works with reclaimed materials and turns them into desks, chairs, kitchens, etc. Right? So he would literally drive around. I remember being with him, driving around in our little car, and he would look into skip, a dumpster, right? And he would somehow, from like miles away, realize, go, there's something over there. And we'd drive along and we'd stop, and he'd rummage around with all these bags of crap in there, and he'd pull things out, and he'd find some big piece of wood that he could turn into a desk and sell it for a few £1,000s, right? Or he'd find a bunch of old lamps or old lights or something, and he'd take this stuff back to his big warehouse with all his stuff, and then he'd make it into other things, right? That's a classic example of it. Metal in the ground, right? It's a resource. Metal is in the ground. It's turned into train tracks and trains. It's turned into cell phones. And in your case, more likely it's going to be knowledge and experience that you have in your head turned into books, courses, and coaching. Right? So you take a resource, information in your case, wisdom, and turn it into books, courses, and coaching. So entrepreneurs aim to profit for everything they do. They want to get the biggest possible result for whatever they do. So as an entrepreneur, you're thinking, how can I do the least amount of work and get the greatest amount of benefit? Which might mean money, impact, success in various different ways. All right, let's look at a direct comparison. An employee typically avoids risks to survive. If they do stupid things, they'll probably get fired, right? An entrepreneur takes risks to survive. If you don't take risks and you play it safe, the industry can change and you can lose everything. Employee works for a paycheck. Entrepreneur doesn't work for a paycheck, they work for profit. They don't get paychecks. Entrepreneurs, if your business screws up, you don't get anything, right? Whereas an employee, they show up, and if they spend half their time on Facebook and watching movies and watching porn and whatever else it is, they still get their paycheck. There's studies have done, employees are up to all sorts of things other than what they're supposed to do at work, right? But they still get paid. Entrepreneur, if you just sit around and just watch movies all day and don't do anything, you won't get paid anything. You have to create the value. And on the same time, if you set up a business that makes money, even if you actually don't do any work at all, you still get paid because your business is making you money, right? It's a totally different thing. Employees work on a schedule. They might supposed to come in at 8 or 9 or whatever and work their hours. Entrepreneurs work when needed, or they may work 24/7 or hardly ever. Entrepreneurs are playing a different game. Employee normally has limited responsibility. They might say, that's not my problem, that's someone else's problem. Entrepreneur takes total responsibility. Everything is my problem. As an entrepreneur, everything is your problem. If something goes wrong with a customer, it's your fault. If something goes wrong with your techie stuff, it's your fault. Even if you have employees and they screw things up, it's still your fault. Right? It's annoying a little bit, frankly, but that's just how it is. You have to take that on. Employees limited to how much money they can make, how much money can be made. Entrepreneurs can make as much money as they want or make nothing. You have no limit to your income. If you add more value and create more systems and do more stuff, you can go up and away. Employee does tasks and carries out ideas. Entrepreneur creates ideas and plans to be carried out. Now, that's not to say that employees don't ever come up with ideas, because they do, and they might have an idea and carry it out, but they're doing it for the benefit of the entrepreneur or the business, the company. Right? Even a company like Walmart, by the way, was started by an entrepreneur. Sam Walton, I think his name was. he had one store, but he was an entrepreneur, and he ended up creating more and more and more, and it turned into this monstrous, massive company. But originally, it was just his idea. Employee, if business is slow, they still get a paycheck. Yeah, it's not their fault because they're an employee. Entrepreneur, if business is slow, they may have to suck it up and eat beans and rice. Yeah, I've been through times in my journey where I've had no money at all. Yeah, nearly lost everything I've got many times, frankly. And I've even been in situations where I've had to sell things to pay other people. I'm not joking. Who work for me. Whereas just to keep things moving along, yeah, sometimes you go through challenging moments. Employee, if business is slow, they may lose their job, right? You might be like, you know what, we can't afford these people anymore, or they're not doing what they need. Entrepreneur, if business is slow, you might have to work 10 jobs. Yeah, it's a different reality. Employee, if business is doing great, they still get the same paycheck, whereas entrepreneur, if business is doing great, they get extra profits. Yeah, so an employee is basically at that level, right? Entrepreneur has a lot of power, a lot of control, also a lot of risk, That's why I often wonder, why aren't more people entrepreneurs? The reason is it's too much risk for most people to handle. They can't handle the fact that they might lose everything again and again and again, and they may never, they might be totally without everything that they expect. And all the responsibilities on their head. So even though it seems like an entrepreneur is a much better position to be in, a lot of people aren't willing to take the risk. Employee can be fired. Entrepreneur can fire others. The entrepreneur can fire the employee. The employee can't fire the entrepreneur. Employee can lose job or leave. Entrepreneur can lose everything and go bankrupt. Yeah, the risk is far more severe for the entrepreneur. Employee needs the work. Entrepreneur creates the work. Because if there wasn't any entrepreneurs, there would be no employees. Yeah, and a lot of the time in our culture, these big companies are shamed and told, oh, it's terrible, terrible, terrible. They're making all this money. It's a bit of an arrogant way of looking at it. Actually, people who are employees, the only reason they have any money and they have a job is because of entrepreneurs. So I think a little bit more gratitude in our culture would be good, instead of shaming these big businesses. Like, I don't particularly like Facebook and Google and Walmart, but they are actually providing huge amounts of money for employees and loads of jobs. So you might not like the fact they make billions and billions and billions of dollars, but nonetheless they are actually helping other people. So your new mindset is, I am 100% responsible for my own success. I am 100% responsible for my own success. Yeah, just take that on. I am willing to do whatever it takes to be successful in my business. Yeah, whatever it takes. If you have to work 10 jobs, 10 different things, do all this different stuff in your business, if you have to fiddle around with websites for days and months doing stuff you hate and you find really annoying, fair enough. You do whatever it takes, right? You're completely responsible and willing to do whatever it takes. If you say this to yourself, say these things in your mind, I am 100% responsible for my own business and I'm willing to do whatever it takes to be successful. Yeah, all the power comes back to you. All problems are my problems. I blame no one and take total responsibility. My success or lack of success is in my hands. Yeah, you tell yourself these things. I am fully responsible for all results in my life. All right, just really get your head around these things. I'm 100% responsible for my success, willing to do whatever it takes. All problems are my problems, and I blame no one, take total responsibility. My success or lack of success is in my hands. I am fully responsible for all results in my life. Yeah? Doesn't that feel good? Now, a lot of the time, entrepreneurs are also operators. Yeah, entrepreneur, employee, owner, operator. You are oftentimes an employee as well as an entrepreneur. All right. So what this means is, as an entrepreneur, you are often an employee of your own business. Right. So I currently work in my business, and I also have the ownership of the business. Right. So right now, I'm creating content for the business, which is this video. So I'm basically an employee, acting as an employee now. I'm also an entrepreneur, right? So you oftentimes you're going to do both. You're an employee and an entrepreneur at the same time. This means that you have to pay yourself a salary also. This is a big deal. A lot of entrepreneurs don't realize this. They think, oh, I'll pay everyone else in my team, but I don't get paid anything because I'm the entrepreneur. But if you work in your business, then you are also an employee, and you should be paid as an employee as well as profits. You get paid twice. This also means that you might have to fire yourself if the work you're doing is not getting results. Right? So if you're doing something in your business and it doesn't work, you have to fire yourself. Yeah? You are accountable. You're almost like you're wearing two hats. Part of you is the entrepreneur who's employed the other you to work as an employee. And if the other you working as an employee is doing a bad job, then you need to be told off by the entrepreneur version of yourself. Yeah, so you have to have sort of a split personality or split role. Yeah, does that make sense? So the entrepreneur is usually the business's best employee. Yeah, you probably are going to work longer, harder, and more than any other employee that you could possibly have. So you're most likely working tirelessly, showing up on time and doing what's needed, and no complaining. All right, so just have that mindset. You're an entrepreneur and an employee. You can also only be an entrepreneur, by the way, which means that you have people who work for you, but you don't do anything at all. And that's perfectly fine. If you want to have a situation where you do absolutely nothing apart from own the business and perhaps make sure people are doing what they're supposed to, that's fine. Yeah. But most of the time, you're going to be creating and being the entrepreneur with the ideas and the focus. So are you ready? Are you ready? It means create massive value to help others. Do what is needed every day. Every day, do whatever's needed. No excuses. And take 100% responsibility and risk constantly. So are you ready? You are the captain of your own ship. You are the master of your own destiny. So now you can take a success break. Understand that success is in your hands. Come back to these mindsets again and again. And enjoy being the captain of your destiny. Congratulations. Have fun. And we'll talk to you soon.